All right. Well, it's been quite a while for all of us. I used to come on 3 and 4 times a day. We've all gone through our own evolutions and changes and deconstructions and reconstructions in progress. So much has been happening for so long, and it's all getting faster and faster. And a parts of us are dying. Uh, and it does us good to recognize these parts of us that are coming into our field and wanting to be seen again. Um, at the same time, we've got this expansion that's occurring. Something's happening, something's going on. And I remember back in 2021, one of the last shows I ever did with Franco D. Nicola. And he was talking about this time, and he was saying that you won't be able to get on Facebook anymore. You won't be able to get on YouTube anymore, not because of what they are or what they offer, but the things that are being shown to you are not going to resonate anymore because there's something deeper happening, right? And that's really what is motivating me to get out here today in this episode number 44. All right. Is to come out and talk about what's actually happening right now from my perspective, from your perspective, in the way that we experience life every day. And we've got to say that the internet is a big part of it. But it's another form of the energy reflecting back to us what's actually going on with us and with each other. Um, so as I go through, and I know we all do it, we go through some reels and you sit down for 10 minutes and have a coffee and you start watching reels. You start seeing things that are not, let's say, in the light worker or starseed community, but you see those things too. And we have a wider awareness where we can start to see things with more contrast and more uh, intelligence and that discernment that we all talked about for so many years starts to come in and we start to make these new choices. Now, where am I going with this? Overall, if I say anything today, and thank you for, sitting with me and sharing space with me, should you do so. But the one thing I would want to say is there is something happening. I think we can all agree on that. This is not normal. This isn't normal to last year, 2 years, or 3 years, or 5 years, or 10 years ago, or before 2012, or whatever. And my personal message to myself and that I would share with you is it's about us. And I know that sounds like a little bit of a cliche, but when you get on the internet and when you look into the external with all the different narratives and all the different prophecies and predictions and uh, energies in one form or fashion telling us what we need to do and how we need to do it. And that can be the government and that can be in the light worker circles. You know what I mean? And that's not to judge any of it, but to simply say all of that out there is a reflection of the massive changes that we're having in multiple streams, multiple dimensions, while still being in the human form. And to remember, it's about us. There's nothing outside of us that is more important and of a greater potential for us to give our time and energy and focus to than ourselves. And that's true. And I feel like if we all tap into that, which I'm sure we do and have, we will know that's true. We may not understand it all, but let's not get lost in this fantastic masterpiece that we created so that we could come back to a place where we find ourselves in a greater awareness than we've ever had in a conscious moment to create again. And this is what I believe we're doing here. Um, I am going to open up here because it's not about me. I'm just trying to express myself as a reflection of you. So it's not really the words, so to speak. It's the energy of just coming out I don't really know what to do. I spent a lot of time online for many, many years, as many of you know, and it was a big part of me, and I let all that go. And I won't go into all of that. What I will get to is a place that I believe that we're all at, which is having to let go or letting go of everything we thought we were and we thought this world was. And that can become very convoluted and complicated. And it can also make us vulnerable to attach to belief systems or statements or philosophies or this or that. But nevertheless, we've all come to this same place following the same type of guidance unique to us that brought us all together. And in this space, it's not just the words, it's the energy, it's all the frequencies involved uh, when a soul is sharing. And sharing to me is giving and receiving in equilibrium. Um, so, my message today is there is something happening, and it's us. Not only is it about us, but it is empowered by us, created by us for the opportunity to be able to reach a new potential, to reach new universes, new lives, new newness, new creation. Never underestimate the power of one unique and equal soul. Now, how can we get to the year 2025 and have all of these things out there? We've got these wars and we've got these elections and we've got these, uh, left wing and right wing. And now we have these earthquakes and all these things and still remain the same. Still know that we are soul. Still connect in that place with ourselves and with each other and even expand it as the distortion gets louder. Are we creating a new earth? Are we going to separate from another density or whatever the case is? I don't know. But what I do feel strongly about, which is the theme of this today, is it's up to us. There's a lot of talk about over the years, and I think it's relevant that we're quantum thought creators, that our thoughts create what's occurring, be it a hologram or a simulation or whatever. But the bottom line is, as human beings navigating through these crazy, tumultuous years since 2012 and even the last 90 days, we have the power. We are the controller. We are the creator. And all of this stuff out there is less important, less potential than for us to tap into that which brought us all together and that which we had when we came into this thing and when we leave. But right now, with everything going on, and I'm seeing this like in the Starseed Lightworker platforms, the ones I've been accustomed to for the last 12 or 14 years. And what I'm seeing is in between the cracks. What I'm seeing is people stepping up, not the ones putting the post out, including me, but the ones that are coming out and speaking now and telling their story, not from a victim standpoint, but from the power of a transformative human soul. To recognize and acknowledge in a world where we never have been and where we've been conditioned and institutionalized to be lesser than, but to actually feed into our power by virtue of the experience of our human experience. Not out there, but right here, where we're at, who we are, what we are in this moment. We're far more than these bodies. I look through social media. I try to find conversations. Everything to me is about the narrative. It's about the history or the supposed history or this expert or that expert or this science or this math. And I keep seeking and searching for, even in this new podcast, to have conversations not where, we're dying on the cross or in victim consciousness or falling on the sword, but where we can have a conversation with respect and honor and reverence and talk about things that are not settled in the field. The relationship between masculine and feminine, the relationship between the external influence upon us and how pious or how disciplined or how should we live in an effort to create a world outside of us by creating the one within us. I mean, I don't hear this and I'm not judging this. I'm seeking something that I feel my soul doesn't know. And it doesn't know it because this is the first time I can fully recollect that I've had a human experience and take that knowledge from the experience to combine it with what we brought into this thing and start to make something new. Call it magic, call it alchemy, call it whatever you want to. And then at the same time, to be at peace with the fact that at any moment it's all over. And that's kind of where I bring myself back to every day now. These last few weeks is okay, where's your head at? What are you tapped into? Who are you following? What are you listening to? Now, keep all that in mind. If I knew from this point right now that I had 24 hours to live as Todd, that was it, what would I be thinking about? And if you try that little exercise, you're going to find out that there's a whole bunch of stuff, most of it that you wouldn't even concern yourself with. And our thoughts then go to the core of us, the core of love, life, and that's who are we with? What do we want to express to so and so or this person or that person? What would we like to try to do? What will we like to create? Where would I like to go? Uh, I mean, it's it's both sides of this, and I've been nervous since the 1st of January when I started these new shows. Every time I get on these shows, and I've done thousands of shows, and never had a problem. I think it speaks to the change in me. It speaks to the change on the earth. It speaks to where our potential is, not just me, but people that I've talked to on this show and people that I see out there, the voice that's coming through the cracks, in between the lines, the people in the audience, the real stories that can be told with grace and dignity and strength and power and unity that carry the codes of a human being that's transformed and gone beyond survival to a place where the awareness is offering us an opportunity to create something that the physical dimension has never seen, if you want to put it that way. I follow my soul, and it's not always easy, and I know you can relate to that. I know you can. Um, but I feel that the time for narratives and histories and you have to do this and this is what's happening and predictions and prophecies, and I get all that and I'm totally in alignment with all of it, and I'm not saying that it's not important because it's very, very important to bring us to a certain level of awareness. But what do we do with it now? Because this is all we have. If we have one day to play, 1 month to play, 1 year to play, let's play. I think that's the part that really is speaking to me now from my soul these last few days is both almost uh, like I said, if you knew you had 24 hours and you looked at all the different streams that you have attached to your mind and said, okay, having that there, now I know I have 24 hours to live. Would you give any concern to any of these streams? No, there'd be a few, right? I need to tell so and so I love them. I need to say I'm sorry. I need to go to the beach or whatever these things may be that would stick with you in that last 24 hours. This is the kind of space that our souls are familiar with, in my opinion. And and I think this is a very unique time in our experience. I would say multiverse universe, but I really don't know. But this seems to be a very, very special time. The planets are aligning. Everything's upside down. With the acceleration of the internet with AI, and I say that with the highest reverence, you don't even know, we don't even know what we're looking at anymore. Is it a reflection of a world that's been presented to us from day one? Is the math and the astrology and everything about it something that's been overlaid upon us? And whatever it is, and to whatever degree it may be, there is something inside all of us, the indomitable, eternal reality, truth of the soul, of oneness, of unity, something that we all recognize in each other, regardless of how distorted or distracted we might get. So, the first part being there is something happening. Thank you for holding space through my nervousness. But there is something happening. But number one, it's us. And I would even go further and say, if we are in a state of awareness that we say we are, and we have somewhat of an alignment occurring to the point where we can start to utilize it between the mind, the heart, the body, the soul, then we can make new choices. And I believe those choices start from our thoughts. If this is a quantum thought reality, we are the creators from our thoughts. So the prejudices and the biases and all the other things attached to our identities and our perspective are the block between a higher, more harmonious balance. And I personally would like to experience that in the flesh after all we've been through. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'd like to die trying because I'm tired of this old shit. And that includes, you know, everything going on in the world stage because nothing's changed. It never has and it never will. And our salvation isn't out there, if you want to put it that way. It's within ourselves. And we know this. And it sounds like hokey pokey, new age, old Far Eastern philosophy and secret fraternity BS, but it's not. We know this inside of ourselves. That's why those words have made it through all the philosophies and religions and writings and poems and oral histories. Even if the word wasn't one word, it's the soul that connects us all. And this isn't dogma. This is just, you know, you are what you think you are, so to speak. So the second part of this being, I want to encourage anyone and everyone to pick up a microphone or record yourself on audio. Do it for yourself. Find your voice. I'm trying to find mine. Speak. Talk about whatever you want to talk about. It's not out there in the clickbait bullshit. It's not even about the stuff under the pyramids. These are all codes and cookie crumbs that we left so we would turn something on inside of us to take us to a point of unknown in regard to our ability to create something that's never been created, to do something in union and to do it in a thick density such as this here on earth or as it has been. So I am trying to set shows up just on, you know, in the flow and do it in a way that creates a sacredness in terms of it being an example of a conversation between any two people that could be in private. An openness, 360 degrees, a place where we go in and we don't even know what we're going to talk about. We just kind of start talking and revealing. There's code in our stories. I think it's part of the simplicity that true wisdom brings. Now more than ever, and I feel that a lot of us, a lot more than we think. And remember, this is a quantum thought reality. So if I think that all those people over there are asleep, then they're going to be asleep. But if I look at all those people over there and say, their soul's just like me, and I may not understand the way they get there, but we all want to get to the same place. And the more I believe in them, the more I believe in myself, and the more likely it is to happen in balance and grace. And it can happen at any time, anytime. Anyway, let me go back to that. But now more than ever, don't let anything stand in your way. If you need to speak, speak. Does that mean it's going to be perfect? No, not always. But we're not going to know until we try. If you need to act in truth, act in truth, speak in truth, think in truth, catch ourselves, correct the frequencies, correct the projections, and we can see it by what's reflecting back to us. It sounds hokey with all the complications seemingly in this world of all, and we could just go right down the list to think that if we can make this commitment with ourselves and our soul to really trust that we are what we say we are and feel we are and know we are and control these thoughts going out with our mother-in-law, with Trump, with Russia, with whatever the case is, with the Anunnaki, with the Illuminati, with whoever, to actually embody from the point that we are standing in on the plane of a soul perspective, overseeing and reverence everything that we've come from. And from that standpoint, holding it in a divine neutrality and not fighting the ego and prejudices and bias, but looking at it from that standpoint, we can all walk in that place. And I believe that's where we're at. But like, it's up to us. And I believe in us 1 million fucking percent. And that's what I'd like to talk about. I'd like to talk about how maybe I'll talk about it. How do you reunite with your love of all your lives after 3 years? And in that, whatever, let's see, 9 months, go through everything y'all have gone through, the highs and the lows, traumas. I mean, just all kind of life in this period of expansion. How did he do that? What did it feel like? Not, here's how I did it. If you do it like this, you'll be okay. No, I'm talking about, God, there was pain, there was suffering, there was fright, there was fear of death, there was this, there was that, there was expansion, there was love, there was tenderness, there was wisdom, there was resolve. Um, Stories like that. Anybody want to come on? Message me. I know a lot of people answered that post I put up a few weeks ago when I really started to get onto this. But a place where we can talk like two people, two souls, recognizing each other in the audience of our reflections, our family. Uh, Not about books, courses, modalities, processes, although they have their place, but to dig into a place where we wouldn't look because of the conditioning, right? And let's face it, where is the last place that we have looked for our power, our strength, and ourselves? Us. We tried everything else. So wouldn't it make sense to fully embody and do our best to replicate that in the flesh? There would have to be codes there. And I've had the blessing of being able to do 45 or 46 shows this year, and we've hit that point at times. We have. And it can't be explained. It's just there. Okay. So how long has this been going on? 30 minutes. All right. Yeah. So, I didn't want to do this. My soul said, you got to do it. And episode number 44. Let people know that, yeah, something's happening. We can all agree on that because we have been a many, many eons not agreeing on so many things. And as time's gone on, we agree more and more and more, especially in communities and atmospheres like this. Uh, but still, we're working on that. But we can agree that something's happening. And my soul's telling me personally and to share that don't forget it's you and it's me. Period. End of story. And then the second part of my offering today is to encourage each and every one of us to speak in our own way with our energy, how we can, where we can, with what we have. To there is something to be said for the expression of self without um, in that space, in that zero point space, in that place where uh, we're not thinking about what people will think or the praise we might get, right? There's some code in there, and I've seen it too many times in the shows I've been involved with over the years from time to time. It's contagious, it's what lights us up. If I was in the old, and I'm saying this because I feel like what I'm saying, this is an example. Um, you know, I came into another country um, on a wing and a prayer, you know, and have gone through this incredible experience with Morgan. We're going to be talking about our experience in the coming weeks, as it fits, as it flows to share. But as an example, if I were still operating the old way, I'd be doing 3 and 4 shows a day to keep the old abundance coming in and to make a living, so to speak. I feel that the choice I've made, the type of choice Morgan's made, and other people that I know over this period of the last few months has been to walk away from those things that were guarantees or those things that were uh, things that we couldn't release, taking us down to the bone. And so, like in my example, which I think is reflective of a lot of people, maybe what's happening is you start to move forward. You don't operate on the same math. You don't have expectations. You just put your heart out there and you give it all you have and you let it be. And I don't know about you. We've never tried this in mass before. All of us on this planet, even a small contingent, whatever, to actually put our faith in our divinity, in our essence of being a creator in this physical awareness, and to give to that mathematics and to that geometry. Talk about original blueprint. Abundance is everything. Abundance is harmony. Abundance is so many things. And to think that it stems from our individual expressions of the inspiration of life, being ourselves, is the most ridiculous thing, but the truest thing. You know, share being yourself. That'd be another way to say it. So, like I said, I didn't want to do this, but that's another thing that we all have in common is we've been told by our soul to do certain things and we do it. And sometimes we understand it, sometimes we don't. But make no mistake, we've come a long, long way. And regardless of what's out there, it's nothing. It's nothing but a thing. What we have in common is something innate, it's intuitive, it's instinctive, it's eternal, and it's happening. And and to be consciously aware is one thing. To be consciously aware and to step into that belief, truth, consciousness, whatever you want to call it, is what we're doing. And many of us are tired, and I believe we have the ability to flip the script at any time. I'm not waiting on any solar flare. I'm not waiting on any of these other, none of it. We can do this right now. So I would encourage everybody, whether you send me a message or you do it on your own, you do it in a post with something you write, a piece of art, any type of creation, an audio in your own private life. Try it with yourself in a room. I've done it many, many times. I still do it. Have a conversation with yourself. Find our truth, be us, be real without any reservations. Who would have thought to be comfortable in your own skin is the most powerful thing a conscious, aware human being could do from a soul and spiritual, energetic standpoint? Well, listen, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for sharing space with me. And I'm going to come back at this tomorrow, and because I love doing it. And I'm seeking something with my brothers and sisters that I have been the whole time. I love to not get up here by myself. That's a bit confronting, but I love to talk to people. And at this point in the game, as we all know, our energy is very, very, very precious. And equal energy exchanges can't be faked. But to have an open, transparent conversation or dialogue or platform is something that I would be proud to be a part of. And I think, like anything that's coming our way, uh, nothing's going to be created unless we create it together consciously in terms of what our vast potential could be, you know, and what we create together.